Calvin C. Goode was the epitome of a servant leader. He was unusually gifted to provide leadership in our community. He was a man of purpose, passion, preparation, and patience. Mr. Goode welcomed me to the Valley of the Sun in July of 1977 when I came here to pastor the First Institutional Baptist Church. He was a city councilman and also a neighbor. That's how I met him and grew to respect him highly.
I met Mr. Goode when I was a kid at King's Table Buffet Restaurant. And I approached this man, this very distinguished man with a suit on. And he said, "How are you doing, young man?" I remember this like it was yesterday. "How are you doing, young man?" And he said, "Are you doing good in school?" And I said, "Yes." "What's your name?" And I told him. And he said, "All right, well, keep up the good work." Fast forward decades now, when I first became involved at Carver as a graduate student. And I showed up one day and he was here. And at that point, he became a mentor of mine as I was volunteering here. But his actions taught me a lot about leadership, about mentorship, about community service, being present and reliable.
He was a man that was focused on making a difference in the lives of others. I would consider him to be the epitome of integrity.
Dad was always, I would consider a humble servant, and no matter who you were, you could always approach him at any time. There was never, "Oh, it's a bad day." He was always on and ready to talk and deal with any situation.
He believed in the humanity and dignity of all people, and everyone should have a voice. He especially wanted to fight for the people who didn't feel like they had a voice in government.
Growing up, my dad, his family was very poor. They moved here from Oklahoma when he was 10 months old. They were sharecroppers out in the desert outside of Gila Bend. That was the only place African Americans could go in Gila Bend. They couldn't go to the regular school. Just, less than ideal situations growing up. And the only place he could go here in Phoenix was Carver High School. And so he graduated from Carver High School and worked there and did so many things there. So what drove him was inadequacies that were on African Americans at that time. He fought for better change, and he was always on the go, meetings, council, but he always made time for the family. And I can remember us always going to Jack in the Box on a Friday evening and getting a meal and spending time there. If nothing else, that was the minimum that he would do on a weekly basis.
Also, I remember on, say, a Sunday morning before church, he would go out and water the yard and then come in and cook breakfast. We would take trips up north to Prescott and Flagstaff and his big blue truck that he had with a camper on the back. And he did a lot for the community, but he was also just dad for us.
I think that's really it. If I had to say, a lot of times people think about him, and it's true. They think about him as a civil rights icon. They think about him as the longest serving member on the city council in the history of Phoenix. But he was, for us, he was dad. And there was no question about that. And I just really appreciate it. In the midst of everything else that was going on, he did not move away from being dad.
He embodied and exuded all of the principles that I believe Valley leadership stands for. And that's selfless leadership, putting community first, trying to figure out creative ways to move community forward. He was passionate about representing Black people because he felt as though it was the most underrepresented, the most maligned, the most misunderstood. So he represented anybody who lived in his district with fervor and passion, but he had a particular place in his heart for the community from which he hailed.
He had quiet strength and he had a sense of tenacity. He saw so much injustice and inequity in Phoenix, in the community, especially for Black people and people of color. That was his driving force to make sure everyone got his or her fair share. Mr. Goode, I still appreciate you. You are such an invaluable asset to the people of Arizona. Yeah.
Not a day doesn't go by that I don't think about him and my mom. Towards the end of his life, we set aside time to spend with him and do the things, he wanted. For years, he talked to me about, oh, we need your help at Carver. Together, the brothers and I, we were able to create a fund through ACF, Arizona Community Foundation, in his honor for Carver.
Thank you for who you were, and thank you not only for the father that you were, but for all the people that you helped along the way.
It was really, and I think we could all say this is a blessing that we got to spend quite a bit of time with him toward the end of his life. So many of the things that people say they wish they had said, I think we got a chance to say. So I don't know if I would say much different other than, Dad, I love you, and I miss you tremendously, but I'm so proud of you, and what you did made a huge difference.